Step into the paranormal with Ernie Atwell and David Seiler, brought to you by Paranormal Inc., right here on WLFE DB Radio.
And we are live!
We are back.
What's up, y'all?
How's everyone doing? How you doing, Mr. Seiler?
I'm doing. How you doing, Mr. Atwell?
I'm good.
Awesome.
Trying to get back into the swing.
Yeah, our last show got canceled, unfortunately.
Yeah, I want to, before we bring our special guest in, let me just make a quick apology. We had a big show lined up 2 weeks ago.
We were really excited.
We had from the hit TV show The Walking Dead, our great friend Santiago Cirillo.
What's up, brother?
And at the last minute, I had to cancel. I'm sure everyone's heard by now. My wife, Ruby, fell very ill very fast and wound up having emergency surgery.
Yeah.
But I won't go into all that. But what I want to go into really quick is thank you in the most sincere way from the bottom of my heart for all the love and thoughts and prayers and comments. And I can tell you, and I mean this as humbly as possible, it's what got me through. This has been 2 weeks of living hell. And, you know, when everyone sees on Facebook, you know, when someone has some sort of emergency or setback and people are sending prayers and the emoji of the praying hands, trust me when I tell you it works. The prayers work. And Ruby and I read every comment to her every night when I went over to the hospital. And thank you. And I guess I wouldn't have made it without our paranormal family again. So thank you guys. And also to our friend Deanna from SOS Teen Paranormal Camp. Deanna unfortunately lost her husband the other night. So thoughts and prayers are with Deanna and her whole family and her closest friends. And Jody Nettles, make sure you take care of Deanna and send her all the love possible from Dave and I. So now
you got an announcement. What you got?
I have an announcement.
You said you had an announcement before we.
No, I said I wanted to touch on.
Stop touching.
We have we got a hell of a show lined up tonight. Our guest tonight is so much fun.
She's a blast.
And she's one of the funniest people, most sincere people, and hardworking people. She wears a variety of hats, guys, and we can't wait to bring her in. So without further ado, Miss Loren Molloy.
What's up?
Hello!
We actually gave you a fanfare. How do you like the paranormal?
I don't even get that.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing, Miss Molloy?
I am doing excellent, Mr. Atwell. How are you?
I'm good, man. We're all good.
Mr. Siler.
We're trying to get back into the swing of things and keep it real. You know how that goes.
You gotta just keep on swimming.
How's the weather up there in New York today?
It's not bad. It's been a little bit bipolar. Yesterday it was 60 degrees, and I thought I was gonna die of heat stroke in the outfit I had to wear. Because you leave the house thinking it's gonna be winter, and it wasn't. And then today I had to leave the house and I needed my thermals. It was about 30. So I said, F this, and I got back in the house.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like, last weekend I was traveling back and forth several times a day up to the hospital, and it was like 11 degrees.
Yeah.
And then the other day I was headed over and I had the windows down, the sunroof open. I'm like,
yeah, I was like a cat in the sun. I was like, purr.
oh, no.
You got a little bit of sympathy there in New York. Sorry.
Yeah, you know what it's like.
How are you doing, Carmen?
Hey, Carmen. Hey, Des.
What we got?
We got Des in the house.
Hey, Desiree. Desiree will be at our event in 2 weeks at the Haunted Bramblewood.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good time.
I'm not sure if there's tickets still available, but check on our site. Miss Laura posted up how to get tickets.
Yeah, see if there's more tickets left. If not, maybe we can pull some strings.
And I'm going to hide in somebody's back pocket because, no, I wish I could go. I hate when work conflicts, but you know how it is.
Yeah.
Well,
I have too many projects and too many hats some days, and it's like I have to learn to say no. Otherwise, I explode.
You heard what happened last time we were there. Well, it was the end of the night. We were up in this room, and we heard Miss Laura talking downstairs, and all of a sudden she screamed. Well, Ernie goes running down the steps to find her. It turns out she'd already left.
Yeah, I knew. I was myself and forgive me, I can't think of the gentleman's name. Two of us knew Laura had left because he had actually walked Laura out to her car because it's so dark where we were at. So I did know that Laura wasn't there.
Yeah, I didn't know.
And that's when we found the front door open.
Wait a minute, but also, Ernie, that was not the first time that happened, because when we were at the whatever place that I can't remember, we had somebody that kept thinking they saw you and it wasn't you, and then we heard a voice and we were following it, and I'm like, I ain't playing these games with you, and it suddenly was like, ugh.
When Loren, I'm so glad because this totally slipped my mind, and I wanted to mention this because we have in 4 weeks we've been asked to host a private investigation. A real famous company in the area rented out the mansion for an investigation and asked us to lead it. But my point being, I was telling them the story. And when we were at Sam Miller, it was me, Dave, of course, you, Jeff Leeper, and Kelly Miller. Now, Jeff and Kelly wasn't there yet. Dave was outside, or you may not even have been there yet. Or maybe you were. But either way, Dave wasn't in the building. It was just Loren and I. Amy wasn't even there.
Yeah.
So I was giving Loren a tour to the mansion. So I said, hey, look, while it's daylight and we're making our way up, they have the big red curtains that you string up.
Vampiric red curtains, folks. This isn't just red. They're like, come into my lair, red curtains.
So Loren and I was going in each of the rooms and shutting the curtains, preparing for the night. So we went all the way up.
Hold on a second, Ernie. I have crazy OCD. So every time I'm given a task by Ernie or Dave and these kinds of things, I want to be meticulous. So I make freaking sure that they're exactly how they're supposed to be. I don't want to be the person that lets them down. So go ahead.
So we go up to the third floor. We get all the curtains shut. We come back down to the second floor. I go one way, Loren goes the other way, and I hear her yell for me. Now, this was her first time here. In some of them rooms, they do get kind of confusing if you're not real familiar. But Loren is like, hey, you did shut these curtains, right? And I'm like, yeah, we went room to room. But point being, when I go into the room, Loren's like in the archway there. The curtains were strung back open again.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, no, I remember we had this one because there was something on a table that reminded me it was like an old weird thing that I would want to use in a movie. That's how I remembered we were in that room. But I had to check with you because otherwise it's bogus if you're not checking with the other person. It'd be like, oh, no. So the fact that they were messing with that. And then they actually moved one of those pieces that we had triggered all the way into another room. Remember that?
We had, what was it that we set? That we set something on the windowsill.
Oh, it was a beige piece of plastic that was like a connector piece, almost looked like a Lego piece, but wasn't. That we put on the ledge because it got kicked and went flying into another room.
Well, if you remember, later that evening, when you go to the second floor and you go toward the back, where the entrances to the old slave quarters.
Yes, I will never forget that.
The very far back room is cordoned off because the floor is collapsing.
Absolutely.
Just as you enter that room later that evening,
God.
somebody stepped on something. I was like, I just stepped on something. And I lit it up to see what it was, to pick it up. And it was that same piece of whatever the hell.
And I remembered that I was the one that put it there. And I said to Ernie, look, I'm putting it here so no one can just bump into it.
We were going to check on it later to see if it moved again.
Yeah. And it was after I ripped open that slave door and I was like, we're not having this locked. You're never going to leave this locked, and said to anything up there, if you feel like you're trapped, you're more than welcome to leave. Nothing's stopping you ever again. And then you heard that huge boom. And that's when all of a sudden someone was like, what the? And I think it was Dave that got pushed.
He always gets pushed.
And he was like, ah! And I go running at it. And Ernie's like, fuck, she's running. So
I think it's such an accomplishment for Spirit to push Dave because he's so big.
I'm like, is there a target on my back? You heard what happened in the basement to me there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I will not go in the basement at Sam Miller again. That's
I know. I have to be with you next time. You need the bodyguard. I'll be there. I'll She-Hulk it out for you. It's my new joke. I don't care.
I have my equipment in my hand. I have my flashlight, and I stopped and I went, hey guys, just be careful. And I'm aiming down right down here. There's a slope. And it literally, the guy behind the camera, he said it looked like a football player, hit me on the side to begin with, knocks me into a wall. I scraped the heck out of this. Yeah. And then he said it looked like something hit me in the front again and made me go back. I'm like, no, you ain't aiming for the big guy no more. Nope.
No. I just remember you running. You're like, ah! And I don't blame you. I mean, I would have been yelling and cursing all sorts of things. I get perturbed when they think they're playing.
This is the funniest thing, man. We had April, the psychic housewife of New Jersey, with us. We were at what was that place in York? That bar? It started with an R.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. I know.
Not the Regal.
Remnant.
Anyway, do you remember when you had your? This is such a Dave moment. Do you remember when you had your group in the basement and you guys saw a shadow or something? Yes. Look, we got the group split in half, right? So we've been investigating for a while. Dave's in the basement, and you come down the steps, you make a left, and it's a long hallway.
Oh my God, let me tell you.
Well, they're in the back. And I'm upstairs.
No, you're missing part of it. We were taking a break, okay? So I had been in the back of the second floor. Hadn't been back there. I wanted to know what was back there. To the right is a kitchen, and then to the left is a hallway with a door in front of it. So me and this other guy go down this hallway, and we're standing at the top of
But didn't you originally see a shadow?
Well, wait a minute. So we're standing at the top of this hallway, and both of us like, what the hell was that? Oh, my God. And we were seeing the shadow walking back and forth. We're watching it.
This was legit.
And it was a legit. So we're just, what is that? What is that?
What is it?
Well, my group was on a break too. So I decided that I'll go downstairs and see what they're getting into.
Right.
So I come down the steps nice and quiet. I don't want to interfere or contaminate any recordings.
Oh, he came up ninja fucking style. Pardon me.
I believe it.
I come around the corner. And as they're looking down the hallway, I come because I'm always walking fast.
Yeah.
As they're watching,
and he's in black,
of course.
As they're watching this shadow, I come walking real fast down the hallway.
He comes from right here. We're looking down here, and it comes right at us.
All I hear Dave scream. I hear another guy scream, and I hear this thud. And when I look, everybody's laying on the floor.
All three of us.
And I look at them, and I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing?
It scared the yell out of us. Oh, my God.
We
were looking down at the shadow. He comes out of the side right here behind this, thing.
Ernie, we need to have you hired at haunted locations. You have the ninja skills for it. I know several people. Holla at my boy over there. You're going to like him during Halloween time.
Ever-loving Jesus out of us.
But it was perfect timing because they're so focused and concentrated on watching this shadow.
And we're listening, and I just ninjas right on out.
I believe it.
It wasn't on purpose. It really wasn't. I had no idea.
We screamed so loud the entire party up front heard us. They're coming running back to see who got murdered.
I love it. See,
Hey.
this is the moments I love.
I got a funny story. This has nothing to do with the paranormal, but on the way over today,
Yeah.
you can't make this shit up, man. I went to get gas. I had to get gas in my car. So I finished getting gas. I sit in the car for a moment, and the pump next to me, I noticed this lady pull up. She's in a little compact car, and apparently her gas nozzle or whatever is on the left side, on the driver's side. Well, she pulled up, and she pulled up too close to the pump.
Oh God.
And she just got this real bewildered look on her face, and she just sat there. And I'm like, oh, I got to see how this plays out. So I pretend I'm like playing on my phone, and I'm kind of like, so this woman's just staring at this gas pump, and she finally opens her door. Now, she only managed to get it open like this much. And I see like this leg come out, and all of a sudden she's going like, and I'm thinking to myself, you realize all you got to do is back up and just pull 6 inches away. But when I left, she was still trying to get, it looked like she was trapped in her car. And I'm like, I don't know why. I mean, forgive me. I'm not making
I'm
fun
turning
of
some
anybody,
shades of purple on that.
But it's like watching the train wreck. You just can't turn away.
Oh Lord Almighty, I can't.
but I
You
was
can't
like,
lie about those things. It really happens.
I'm like, you realize all you got to do is just back up and pull up again.
Oh God. I saw one literally, they were trying to walk it all the way around the other side of the vehicle to try to get it in the
What?
Yeah,
pickup truck. She wasn't making it. I literally got out of my pickup truck, looked at her, and I was like, ma'am, we're going to teach you some things so you stop embarrassing us. This is no good. We can't do this ever again.
I saw a guy pull up to a pump, realized that it was on the other side. So what he does, he comes around and pulls up the pump, gets out, looks like, and you can tell the wheels. So he actually pulls back to the original pump, like,
Yep.
Sometimes you just get so stuck, like you get so focused on the task at hand that you don't see.
Well, there's a bunch of guys that I actually had to tell recently. I'm like, you can tell which way where your gas tank is by looking on the front of your panel. There's literally an arrow with a gas symbol showing which side your gas is on. So you just have to look in front of you and go, oh, arrow this way, pull up this side. And people are always mystified by this information. I'm like,
that makes sense. What is this magic?
But see, I can't, because I have 3 different vehicles. I have 3 different vehicles, and each one the gas is on the other side. So there's many times I pulled up and got out and been like, oh, you know.
And I always have to switch vehicles because one of the jobs I always do. So every time, like you said, it's a different one. So I'll pull up, and it's always the same people at the gas stations. And I'm like, sometimes I'm like, I swear, I'm not stealing nothing. I have to figure out which vehicle I'm in this moment to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing with it. It's true, though. It's horrible.
Oh, my goodness.
That's funny.
But I don't know why I found it. Just,
we say, don't buy it if you can't drive it. No. We always say, teach them so they know how to drive it. There we go. That breaks the whole nonsense. I love you, though.
Even easier, speak really slowly.
I could still do that and still need to explain.
I like his comment, don't buy it unless you can't drive. But we had it's so funny, man. My motorcycle friends used to always tease me because every couple of years I'd buy a new motorcycle, and they say, for the first couple 100 miles, ease into the gears, break it in. And they used to always, like, we'd be on the road going somewhere and I'd be in the back, trying to catch up gradually. And they're like, come on, man, you got to drive that thing like you just stole it. And I'm like, oh,
that's like driving with Mike King. Mike King, he goes hammer time. He's like $120 down the road, and you're just trying to do the speed limit. Like, where'd Mike go? About 2 hours later, you'll catch up to him and go, where you guys been? I already had a Hogan, filled with gas. And
see, that's my problem. People usually have to catch up with me, and I'm going, sorry.
wow.
What have you been up to, my dear?
I've been wearing a lot of hats and trying to keep my head attached to my neck because that's a little difficult sometimes. It goes flying off.
Back in there. Yeah.
Right? You just staple it a little bit. No, it's one of those weird things. I've been doing so many different things that I feel like I'm short circuiting some of these days, because we went from COVID times where everything was locked down and you had to change how you did everything. I did 2 movies during those COVID days, had to finish them all up. And then all of a sudden it feels like the world clicked into a different cycle. Like you said, we're trying to get back into the gear of everything. So to get people to want to work on projects again and trust things and want to go back out is crazy. But I am working on The Bedtime Killer being turned into a TV series. By the way, if you don't know, The Bedtime Killer is one of my novels that I just won an award for. So that's another thing going on.
I just finally finished it what was it, a week ago, 2 weeks ago?
Yes.
Nice.
Tell us about the award that your latest one you just received. That
I'm really excited about it. It's called Best of Long Island. Is a huge deal. Anybody who lives on Long Island knows Best of Long Island, because every time you go into a restaurant or a store or a business, there's a huge sign that'll say, you know, best restaurant of Long Island, or this, that, or the other. So it's one of those, like, you really wish you could get it, but not many do kind of thing. So this past year, somebody nominated me, the company nominated me, and I won Best Author. As of January, I'm Best Author of 2023. And that's a big deal for me, because born and raised on Long Island, it's like a little like, yay moment for me.
awesome. But the book, I tell you what, man, and I'm not saying this because you're my friend and publisher and all that stuff. I'm being completely honest that you know how many books I've probably read in my life. And, you know, I just finished The Bedtime Killer. And I mean, that is, you know, the common saying is, you know, amongst my top 10, that's probably amongst my top 3.
Really?
And I can't, you know, that's even not enough, because for right now, I can't even think of what the other 2 might be, but I just know I've read so many books, you know, I want to keep it humble. But I got to give you this book, Dave. If you like suspense and just, you know, you can get so lost in this story, but the scariest thing about reading her books is I forget that Loren wrote it when I'm reading it. They're that good. They take you to that place. But when I shut the book and I was like, do me one favor, remind me to never get on her bad side, because what I just finished came out of that brain. But it is, and
in
now,
other words, she can hide DNA.
Woo,
Oh, I can.
let me tell you what, man, that book, you know how normally you watch a movie and you're like, oh wow, I didn't see that twist coming, you know, or you read a book, oh wow, I didn't see that coming. But it's like every other chapter's like, oh shit, I didn't see that. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. I'm twisting back this way now. I didn't see that coming either. You know, so it's very good. If I had the time and not so busy, I would have easily read that in one sitting. You know, I mean, it's that type of book.
I appreciate that so much.
I'm trying to binge watch a book.
Yeah, it basically, you know, I'm trying to write, I'm trying to read, you know.
Plus, you know, coming from you and what you do and, you know, all the things that you already know, one of the reasons I was concerned about my dear friend Ernie reading it is, one, he'll tell me the truth, just for all those that are watching. He'll tell me the truth. If he doesn't like it, he'll be like, Loren, listen, and he'll be freaking honest. So, but also The Bedtime Killer is about a peeping Tom turned serial killer, because he goes from a peeping Tom and it just is not enough. And a lot of peeping Toms, you know, the psychology is it suddenly is not enough for that type of personality. They need to go to the next step to get that thrill. And that's how they turn into either someone who hurts or whatever. And this is one of those extremes where a peeping Tom turned into a serial killer. And I had to make sure that all the crime scenes, all the police scenes made sense to, God forbid, if a friend of mine, like a cop or any kind of police or any kind of anybody that's in any field of any of these realms of things, even psychology, reads this and goes, okay, this makes sense. Because I have friends who are psychologists. And if they read this book and go, this is a piece of trash, this is not how it works, I wouldn't be able to live with myself properly. I'd be like, I should have done more research. Oh, thank you, Desiree. I love you. So for me, it's very important to do the amount of research to get why walking a crime scene a certain way works, or why this mentality of a peeping Tom with this type of disorganized mentality versus super brilliant smart keeps being able to get away with things. And the premise starts with, do you ever count how many people show up to landscape your property versus how many leave? Nobody really does. You just know landscapers are here, and then you stop paying attention, and then all of a sudden it's, oh, the landscape, they must be gone. That's how it starts, is what would happen there. And that's why I started doing that.
It definitely sucks you into the story, man, because it was just like in the midst of reading it, and we would be chatting about other things, I'm like, man, I can't wait to see how this ends. Like, I was so anxious to get to the end, because I know in watching Loren's films, I watched 2 of her films over the past year, and the end, you never turn it off 30 seconds too soon, because there's a surprise coming. And that was for the books. But I feel so silly tonight. On the topic of peeping Toms, did I ever tell you my peeping Tom story?
No, tell me. I need to live vicariously through y'all.
I try to make light of things. You know what I mean?
Thank you, Kathleen.
I try to break the tension.
Yeah.
So a few of us responded to a call one night for a peeping Tom. Mm. So we get to the woman's house, and she was hysterical. And she's explaining, I was in the kitchen, I was putting the dishes, whatever, and out through the window, I see a peeping Tom. I'm like, okay, what was he wearing? It was dark clothes, looked like he had a hood on. I really couldn't tell. I said, so you've never seen this guy before? No. You have no idea who this guy might be? No. I said, so how do you know his name was Tom? I kind of thought I was lightening the mood and kind of get a laugh.
Oh my God.
She didn't take it that way. It didn't go over too well.
I
gotta
try to use that in conversation soon.
Oh my Lord.
I thought it was kind of funny.
That is funny.
But not on a real scene.
I might have to use that in a movie or something soon.
I mean, and further investigation revealed that it wasn't even a peeping Tom. It was, she saw her neighbor and he saw the light on, so he decided to look. Yeah.
It's always that kind of thing, and then it's all of a sudden.
The funny part is, when you were talking about the gardener, how many come in and come out? I have cameras all over my house facing the outside. So a couple weeks ago, I get an alert on my phone, and it sends me a static picture. It looks like a guy walking up my driveway with a shotgun. I'm like, oh my God, because my daughter's still there asleep. I'm calling her, get up, get up, get up. And I'm jumping into the video, looking at it. I forgot my gardeners were out there with leaf blowers.
Oh, good Lord.
Scared the ever-loving Jesus out of me.
I had a similar thing happen. Never mind, it was a squirrel. But it was like here, and he had like a hand, like he was like saying hi, and then he kept going. And I was like, all right, I gotta move this camera. This is gonna be bad one of these days.
Now moving on to the next book. I haven't finished this one yet, but I'm reading The Storyteller of Pain.
Oh yes, that one's
also a Molloy exclusive. I'm not that far in yet to determine where I think it might head. I'm a good couple chapters in, but I'm still at that curiosity point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm pretty good at figuring out who done it before they done it.
You ain't right on it. You ain't
so
right.
I'm looking forward to reading.
No, but see, here's the good thing about, and I'm not giving nothing away with the Bedtime Killer. You know from page 1 who it is and what exactly they're doing, but it's just a matter of how and when is he going to get caught, or is he going to get? You know what I mean? And it's It's not.
And I made sure there were chapters where it was from the point of view of the police, and then there were chapters point of view of the serial killer, then point of view of the victim, so that you have the 3 different point of views of the constant cycle of trying to figure out, like, like you do.
You know what really, man, I tell you what was real intriguing and just brought everything out was when you kind of like dove into his past a little bit and his dad, and I was like, I'm just sitting there like I said, man, we watch our friends on TV all the time, and we might be watching an episode of our favorite ghost show and see one of our friends be like, I remember when we was talking about this. I remember, but when I read her book, man, I completely forgot that you wrote it. I mean, it seriously, it took
awesome.
me that far into it. Like I told her, I was talking to her about the book when I finished it, and I can honestly say, maybe it's just me because I'm just a book nerd, but when I was reading it, man, it was like I wasn't seeing the words. It was like a movie playing in my brain. You know what I mean?
Those are the best books when you can actually imagine it.
Yeah.
And you can get the sights, the smells, the sounds, and you just.
But for me, that's how I see it in my head. Everything is already finished in my head, and I just have to get it out like automatic writing. So it's all of that. And then I was saying to somebody once, I have this thing where I can like macro and micro different moments. So like seeing tassels in rooms before I written it versus like grand scale of the smell of the place while it's just already in there. So it's a lot of weird stuff going on in different capacities, and then it's getting it out on paper. But I'm glad that you said that, because that's how it comes out, or that's how it's seen in my head. So that's good. I appreciate that. With the Storyteller of Pain, I actually went back to a time period I feel like I either lived through in a previous life, or there's just some weird, like coincidence, I don't know, interest in it, because going back to the early 1920s. Yes, I love that too, Desiree, when a book sucks you in like that. I took The Bedtime Killer back to, yes, you can find all my books on Amazon and they ship everywhere. So I chose 1920s to 1940s kind of time period because it's that old timey historical kind of, and it's also an insane asylum that was actually around. I have always been fascinated by Danvers Lunatic Asylum. Now, why? Who knows? That and Bedlam. I mean, they're 2 completely different origins, different timelines. Always fascinated. The Very Devil Herself was the first book I wrote, and I desperately always wanted to write it into that one. So I have these time periods where it's just, I want to look up all the details. So with the Storyteller of Pain, you have all these different demons trying to like mess with things at this psych ward, with a surgeon that's trying to mess with people at a psych ward, and then a historical flood that actually happened in real life, causing everybody to get stuck, and what could possibly happen without a priest. That's the premise of this book. So I actually did the historical research into what Massachusetts and Danvers was like at the time. Then I look into the 72 types of demons that the certain book has. And I wanted to make sure that I wrote it authentically and accurately enough, but then twisted it so nobody could get the wrong kind of knowledge and use it incorrectly, while still trying to show little nuances of ways different cultures and faiths battle against negative entities, negative forces, negative energies that we don't always hear about. Because, I mean, Priest, been there, done that. We've seen the movie. We've known the premise. I'm not going to remake that wheel. That's perfect already for me. So that's why I wrote that one.
Our audio momentarily cut out. Can you repeat all that, please? I'm joking.
I know.
My God.
So hopefully you really like that one too.
Now, oh man, and this I got to bring this up. We were at, where were we at? All these events run together when you're old.
They blur after a while.
Oh, we were in Strasburg, Virginia at the Paravation Con. We were in that last year. It was so cool. It was us and Jeremy Leonard from Ghosts of Morgan City, Mike King. Everybody knows Mike, and Dr. Rebecca and Chris DeCesare, who has a mini series getting ready to come on Netflix called the Ghost Boy of Geneseo.
Yeah,
There's a whole bunch
that's
of books there. Rick Hayes. So anyhow, I asked. They were having a silent auction, I think it was. So I asked Loren. She had just. I didn't even know about it. She even kept this from me. But she had published a children's book, a spooky children's book. So I said, hey, look, this is what I'm gonna do. Send me a copy of your book, because we're making a Paranormal Inc. package for the silent auction. One of my books, one of our Paranormal Inc. t-shirts, hats. We would love to add your children's book to it. So what's the name of the show? The Ghost Finders with Dan Class and Melody Knapp, Steve Dills. Well, Steve Dills was part of the event, and he saw your book, and he had his children with him, and I didn't know it, man, but he's just like bidding on, or was it a raffle? But the moral of the story is he wanted this book so bad for his child, and I was like, man, I wish I would have known. I would have brought one for her. We already have it in the. Well, Steve Dills wound up winning the Paranormal Inc. package. So I'm not sure what he did with the Paranormal Inc. stuff, but I know that the thrill of his weekend was his daughter getting that book that you wrote. I told you about that. It was a really cool book, man, for children. I like that.
Yeah, that's the Creature from the Void. That was another one that just popped into my head and became an automatic writing. And I had always been fascinated and in love with this one woman's art, Emily Zizlak. I'm gonna have to spell it out, but it's on the book. She has a very unique last name. And she has a very unique style that makes me think of Tim Burton. And I don't know if you guys remember the Lenore cartoons. Yeah, so I always loved those kinds of styles. And the Creature from the Void is basically a children's story with kind of a creepy edge for all the kind of kids like me that loved grim fairy tales, but still needed to have a good moral. And in that book is more about how, like, the way we are speaking unto each other is poisoning and draining us of the happiness, the joy, the love, and it's making us sick. Where if we're, showing love and being caring and kind, it can re-energize. So I had it be very dark, ink and pen. This girl was genius. I literally gave her like the pages of the book and told her, just do whatever you think is for that. And she came out with the most brilliant artwork I've ever seen. Wow. And in the end, she started off with just grayscale and pen. And at the end, it's beautiful colors and like mind-blowing, like almost like the trippy, psychedelic, beautiful, whatever. And it's children fixing the world by not following the patterns of the toxic or unhealthy that have been perpetuating too much unhealthy interaction. So you
can come to Sam Miller if you want for the prize.
Yes. Sounds good. We'll have to see if I can make it to the next one, but absolutely.
That's good. My friend Kathy there, she's the one that actually called me. Her company is having the private event that we're hosting. It's in 2 weeks.
No, Ramblewood's in 2 weeks, right?
No, Ramblewood's in 2 weeks. Yeah, that one's March 11th. Yeah. Oh.
Okay, well,
my brain is just going. All I'm focusing on is I've been working so hard these past few days on this next book that my brain is like, one part of my brain is still twisting and turning, and the other half is here sitting next to Dave. And
well, your publisher is very proud of you, and so is your PR manager.
He's going bipolar. Hey, let me touch on this, man. This popped
into
my
touching brain. I told you,
because you were talking about asylums. Everyone that saw my episode on haunted hospitals knows that story about the ghost on the road.
Right.
Now, originally, and I've said this in the past, it was originally called the Gray Lady, but I guess the Ghost on the Road sounds better, so they changed it to the Ghost on the Road. I was waiting for the book I'm finishing now. The whole haunted hospitals story that was featured on there will be in this book. Now, just not too long ago, my coworker sent me some photos, Now, the hospital that I thought the appearance of the woman had something to do with, there's a functioning building next door to the hospital, which is now closed. It's like doctor's offices, you know, outpatient, you go see your doctor or whatever. Well, prior to that being there, it was an asylum.
There you go.
And he sent me photos of it. And I got the photos on my phone of what used to stand on this property. And Loren brought to my attention when I sent her the photos, because we were discussing the second book, that you said about you gave the perfect explanation because of they wore the gray gowns and the asylum, that time period when that building stood there, and it completely coincides with the episode that everyone saw, you know, of what we saw when we saw this woman. So that's all going to be in there. But I had to bring it to, it was just it was a good follow up to the original story.
I love that you got pictures about it. I mean, it is so amazing that you were able to find that, because I remember when we first were talking about the story before it aired, you and I were talking, I'm like, well, what was it before him? You know, because how many properties are recycled, and we were saying how we didn't know, and I was like, oh, it's those moments you want to like dig in a dusty library and find. And
my first thought was, you know, a few hundred feet from where a lady took her own life a few years ago is where I saw the gray lady. Then up on the hospital property is where the security officer saw her, and the lady who has nothing to do with anything saw her. So of course, you know, being the road adjacent to a hospital and what appeared to be a hospital gown, it all was like, okay, it must have something to do with the hospital. But now, you know, based on the clothing, the color, all that stuff, what?
He wrote, Dave, you can write a book on how to clean toilets.
We'll get into that.
By the way, everybody knows Dave used 2 products that turns into mustard gas. Do not mix them. He's okay.
Yeah.
But
that's why I'm being kind of quiet tonight. I kind of burned my lungs yesterday. It's a hard night.
But based on what you were saying about the time period and the color and it just makes much more sense than what I possibly thought it could have been. So we'll see how it plays out. But for those that this comment here, Dave,
here, let's just repost that to embarrass Dave a little more.
Tell us, Dave. Tell us how.
So my daughter has a dance tonight.
Name of the daughter.
She has a friend coming over. Of course, she wants to clean the house, make it impressive for her friend, blah, blah, blah. So she deep cleans the bathroom. Not just cleans it. I clean the bathroom regularly, but she wanted to deep clean. She wanted to wipe down the molding, make sure the shower doors, everything, you know. But she looks at the toilet and went, Dad, your problem.
Okay.
Fair enough. Okay, so I get the outside. I'm Lysoling the heck out of it. I'm sanitizing, you know, making sure the seat, the back, everything. The bowl, I have hard water here. So it looks like staining coming down because it's iron. Yes. So I use a product called Iron Out. So I usually just sprinkle a little bit in the bowl.
You're not allowed to ever have that product in your house again.
Well, no, Iron Out's good. Don't get me wrong. Iron Out is good. It works. The thing is, what I do is afterward I flush to get that, and then I use the Lysol toilet bowl cleaner. Well, I stepped out, got the dog out, started dinner, blah, blah, blah. Kids yapping at me in the ear. So I go back in to finish up. I just squirt the Lysol toilet bowl cleaner in it. And all of a sudden I'm like, anyway. I mean, literally, you could almost see the fog coming out of it. It was like, I literally flush quickly. I'm like hitting the fan, closing the door. Don't go in there. My daughter looks at me and says, Dad, you're turning blue.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm calling poison control. I just made it. This is I mean, I couldn't stop hacking. And my chest, I still feel it in. But yeah, I just shared it with everybody yesterday on Facebook going, hey, I did something stupid.
When we did tonight's episode, because come hell or high water, we were doing tonight's episode because we had to cancel.
I'm glad you're okay.
we had to cancel Santiago's 2
Yeah.
weeks ago, and we didn't want to cancel you because, with your schedule.
Yeah.
But I thought we were going to be sitting here. Remember at the end of ET, I'll come in the white. I thought we were going to be sitting here dressed.
No, he me things. I'm going. If we have to, I'm going. Dave, you move light, turn it off.
Well,
I love it.
in case you ever.
You guys are freezing up.
Now you know.
Life was fun. I could tell you've lost part of your signal, Loren. Your signal is getting very low. So
No, that's
you're like
you,
one
not me.
bar.
That's you, not me.
No, I'm on wire. I'm wired.
Okay.
We're on hardwire.
We're on a hardwire. We're on a physical cable.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here.
We still got her.
Oh, there she goes.
Hey, tell us. I've been waiting. I've been saving this for last. Tell us real quick about your movies.
Yes.
Okay. So I have two. The first one is Yield, the horror movie, and it's about a family called the Carnigo clan who use the nature trails as their catch and kill them for food. So the whole movie is about people who go in but never come out and what actually happens. And I might play a part or two. And the other one is the Devil's Lettuce movie, and that one even has COVID captions, and you see the masks because I was not going to let us ever forget this happened. And that one is about a group of people decide to party in a graveyard on Friday the 13th, like you do. And one of the dudes breaks the bowl, gets all mad, goes to take a little wee, finds a skull and goes, you know what? Let's party with the skull. Smokes out of the skull. And all of a sudden, the two guys that were smoking out of the skull, their eyes start changing. They're sweating. They're getting aggressive. And the girls freak out. What happens is the movie. And it's a lot of fun. And, I might play a part or so.
What you need to do is you need to put at the end closed captioning provided by COVID.
I did actually. I literally have COVID captions because at one part I wanted them to walk into the movie wearing the masks like we all had to. So and they were like, how is anybody going to hear what we're saying if we have these? I'm like, don't worry, I understand the magic of my brain, but you'll see. So literally it says everything on it and you hear them muffled on purpose because that's all we dealt with. For somebody who had to read lips all her life, started like I wanted that moment to be captured.
I did watch both Yield and The Devil's Lettuce. Now, I've watched The Devil's Lettuce 3 times.
That's awesome.
I got to say, both movies were outstanding. Outstanding. However, I favored The Devil. I know it's not a but, it's a however. I favored The Devil's Lettuce because that was more my flavor of liking. Now, for those that like the horror and the gore, this is what I can tell you about Yield. Dave being a former cop and me being a current cop, we have seen things
that would make a Billy Goat puke
that our brains will never forget and our eyes will never erase. And we see this sometimes on a daily basis, and it's the truth. But there was a part in the movie Yield that I literally had to pause it, like get myself together and start it back up. And I was sitting there like, I didn't even know what to think. And I was like, there is no way I'm going to throw up over a film that Loren made. You know what I mean? But if you like that stuff, watch both of them. But
they're both available on YouTube for free on my YouTube channel. Look up Loren Molloy on YouTube and you'll find both of them on there for free because I decided at this point.
Look at the scrolling down here. That's how to spell her. Find her on YouTube.
But I'm not taking away from Yield, but my liking, my genre was The Devil's Lettuce.
Yeah.
You could use like 4 gallons of blood as you're using that chainsaw. That's a good movie.
Yeah, see,
no chainsaws.
like body parts falling off.
Well,
quit while you're ahead. You know,
like all the three of us here, we all love this scary, spooky, all
absolutely.
year round Halloween. But I always favored the spirituality and the supernatural to the guts and gore. That's just my thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, let me explain for the
when you're
viewers.
wearing certain things, you know.
Yeah, I feel like for those that like House of a Thousand Corpses, you'll love Yield. For those that like more of a, you know, police, and we actually had a guy who created his own Baphomet costume. So which is like the horned goat kind of creepy guy in a church.
When he made his presence known for the first time in the movie, I was like, man, I was done. Because the whole church scene, and that's right up my alley.
The dynamic changed, yeah.
And just so you know, that church had an upside down cross before we even got there. And there was a skeleton, literal skeleton, on the other side, already on the cross before we ever got there. We didn't need to do a thing to this place. I
remember during production of the movie, I happened to see some of your photos that you and I believe Jessica may have posted, and it was the inside of the church, and I was like, oh, this is so badass.
And that place is amazing. You can find it in New Jersey. It's there somewhere still. The Mystic.
There somewhere.
Well, one thing I did is I added it on the IMDb pages for each movie so that if somebody wants to look it up. Also on the YouTube channel, there's lots of behind the scene footage of walkthroughs of the church. There's a scene from The Devil's Lettuce where we actually had a coroner. We actually had a real EMT who, you know, played in the part. And when we found that spot, I actually walked the perimeter, and you watch me find what looks like a torture shed all the way in the back, and where the mushrooms are and all this stuff. And I didn't post it until after we had been away from that scene for over a month. About a month later, they discovered bodies. And that was sort of away from where we filmed. And part of it was at night. And I actually had to have two guys who were ex-military to watch the property because I wasn't going to let Jess get harmed while we were filming. And then I had to put it all out, and you can watch that.
I can completely vouch for her because during that whole, what she was just describing, she was like keeping me posted along the way. And
wow,
you know, and look, when you all do watch The Devil's Lettuce, keep this in mind. Keep it on to the very last second, because it's one of those Loren moments at the end. So you have to watch it to the very last second.
Same thing with Yield. Otherwise, you'll miss a real good moment about a certain little something.
Something somewhere with someone?
Don't, if you're going to watch, this is just me, because I will eventually, because I love because this is what it put me in mind of. And I don't want to label your film, and I don't want to take away, but to me, it put me in mind of one of those, what I like to call like a cult classic. Like,
oh, thank you.
A certain time of the year, you just rewatch that movie. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm that way with The Exorcist, The Blair Witch Project, Scream. They're my three favorite all-time movies. And now I've added The Devil's Lettuce to it. And I'm going to, even though it kind of made me queasy in my stomach, I'm going to rewatch Yield.
And you know what's funny? I think for me, I also made it in the mind of people who would rewatch it, in the mindset of hopefully, but so that the more you watch it, there's more little details. Like there are little things where you'll see, feel better. You'll see where in Yield, you'll see that someone's wearing a shirt for the second movie. So I was already promoting it. There are moments where there are people arguing, and literally one of my books is on the bedstand. Like those little things.
I noticed that. I noticed that. I know the shirt. I noticed the shirt. The book I did, and I'm not going to say that, but the shirt I did. So,
but that's the kind of stuff I try to keep in mind, because when I watch movies, I want to find something new, hopefully every time, and that's why I try to add those little things in. So,
including your latest children's book. That's what, eight books total or 7?
Yes, I have like 8, I think. Yes, 8 so far, and I have 2 more on a back burner that I just am juggling. I can't do that and give it the right attention at the moment, because I'm also creating protection stones. Like, remember I used to do that at all the conventions? Yeah. I have so they're blessed and they have all the everything in it. I started doing those again. I do, oracle and tarot readings, and I, do blessings and all those things.
Do you have a protection stone or crystal that combats like chemical warfare in case Dave decides to clean again?
I was waiting to see me start. I was like, I might make him one with just a biohazard symbol, because at this point I'm afraid for you. Did you want?
Well, here's what we're going to. Hey, you know how my mind's always on marketing, and for those like coming to all the upcoming events, Dave and I decided to switch it up this year, and we're premiering a new T-shirt design. And what we're doing is we're using our original logo that only Dave and I wear. We're now going to be
the one up in this corner right here.
That one. The flashlight goes. So right anyway, our new merchandise coming out is going to have that logo, but now we need to create one with like a
biohazard,
not a but like a mustard gas mushroom cloud with Dave and.
Oh, I can say I hugged the guy that survived mustard gas. I'll make it for you. And on the back, I can say I hugged Dave Seiler.
Love you too.
Hey, actually, you might be able to include that in like we can come up with a new movie idea, like paranormal investigator, like poisons himself and
wakes up somewhere.
We can go so many different directions with that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited. Does that mean I get to mess with Dave's body? Never mind.
Was that an offer?
I don't think you want it the way I'm talking. You haven't read the Bedtime Killer yet.
Oh yeah, I forgot. It's not a singular thing. It's not a date thing. It's a murder you thing. Damn it!
It's technically true, but no. I mean, no, never.
No. Let's go to sleep.
Just smell this dish rag. Does it smell funny to you?
It's not fucking.
Does my perfume smell good? Just kidding. I would never do that. I wouldn't be able to drag you far enough.
My latest book I'm writing, I just finished the chapter today on. I was tapping in a little bit to like phantom smells and anyway, but now we can include like somebody picking up on this like phantom smell and like, no, that's just Dave cleaning something again.
Well, now we know he goes for his Halloween. We get him a hazmat costume. Actually, I think I got a spare one from the last movie.
Yeah, when those Darth Vader masks.
I think I still got one from the last. I mean,
are you Darth Vader? No. I'm just trying to clean again in the house.
Let me tell you what, man. If I had one of those like ET hazmat suits, my ass would have been sitting here in the beginning of the episode with that on tonight. I would have. I really would have. You
needed to talk to me. I would have made sure you had one by now.
My boy. All right, it is about that time, my dear. How can people find all your stuff?
Loren Molloy. You could just put it anywhere. You'll probably find me. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Amazon,
IMDb,
TikTok.
Yeah.
But buy them books, folks. Buy them books. Buy them.
bit.ly/for more about me.
Bam.
If you enjoy reading, take my advice. Read The Bedtime Killer first.
Please remember, there's also The Very Devil Herself, which is about an immortal killer who hunts down serial killers in 1600 England. Ooh. That's also a fun one. Oh. And if you like movies, both my movies are on YouTube.
Aren't you kind of starting to see like a pattern here with her work? Like
maybe
like a theme or.
No, never knives. They break too quick. I mean,
I got a great idea how to create a new. I'm not going to say Happy Horrors Productions, which is Loren's company. I'm going to say I know how to create a new Loren Molloy production. Uh-oh. I'm going to call you and tell you what Dave said about you.
Oh!
Nah, I'm joking.
You're like a ninja in the night.
He'd be like, look, man, I know she's all the way in upstate New York, but I'd be damn in the middle of the night. It looked like a crazy woman looking in my window.
Honey, it's never too long a drive to have something be accomplished.
Oh, got to get along here.
Beep, beep. Hi. I'm here.
Coming through.
No, I would always send someone. I would always make sure I have an alibi. Come on now. I'm smarter than that.
That's the key. That's the key. All right, sweet. We love you.
I have an alibi and a shovel.
And I'm not giving you my shovel. You have to get your own.
Loren,
love you both. Thank you for having me on the show.
We will see you soon.
We will be back. We will be back in 2 weeks on our regular scheduled Sunday. We did Saturday because 2 reasons: Super Bowl and Loren's schedule. So,
all right, who's your favorite in Super Bowl?
This Super Bowl. So you said, what's your favorite Super Bowl? So I said this Super Bowl.
Who was your favorite team for the Super Bowl?
Oh, I'm not answering that. I'm not having anybody fight me.
No, I'm not either because I don't even know who's playing. I don't pay attention to it.
I just know I better win the football pool I'm in.
You get the numbers. Yes.
That's all that matters to me in this moment. And they haven't given me my numbers yet. So I'll find out on Monday.
I want to see the Philadelphia Eagles win.
Yeah, I was going to say, I want to see Philly.
Well, my only thing was, didn't there be a huge riot in Philly last time?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if that city wants to take that hit again.
They're going to win. They're going to win.
Only thing I'm a big sports guy. I love sports, but I'm not like one of them guys that walk around watch ESPN on my phone. But the one thing I am excited about is over the next couple weeks, the pitchers and catchers from baseball are to be reporting to Sarasota for spring training. So I'm a huge Ruby and I both are a huge Baltimore Orioles fan.
That I can live with.
Love it. Love baseball. So, Loren, thank you again, my dear. I will be in touch. You have a job ahead of you, and you know what I'm talking about.
I do. Yes, you better get me your pages, sir. Otherwise, your publisher will be mad, and so is your PR agent.
I'm working very hard. Thank you.
So will his manager. Remember, I get 10%.
10% of nothing is.
Please remember, your contract is with Ernie and not me.
10% of nothing.
A whole bunch of something.
Remember that old R&B song, "Nothing from Nothing Leaves Nothing"?
So I want double that.
Whole lot of nothing going on.
Loren, we will be in touch, my dear. Thank you for spending a little over an hour with us tonight. It was a pleasure. We waited so long to have you back and can't wait to have you back again.
And everybody, thank you for joining us and having some fun for an hour.
Bye, then, boy.
Bye. Bye. Love you. She is a howl. I love her.
She's so much fun.
So if I could even plug my house in, she'd power it for a year.
Just look her up on
all that energy.
Look Loren up on social media.
I see her giggling down there.
She has so many cool photos with the horror conventions and stuff that she was in with all just everybody that you'll know.
Definitely. Yeah.
What else we got, Dave?
Well, we got Ramblewood coming up. We've got the private investigation coming up. We've got the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash coming up.
We're going all the way to head of July.
Oh, we got a lot coming up.
April, we got East Tennessee Paracon. May, we got Rochester Parafest. Our home away from home. We cannot wait.
Loren, I know, Loren, you're still there. Rochester.
You got to come up there,
Come up there with us. She'll take you to dinner, and so will I.
June, we got Paravation in Strasbourg, and then July, the Bash.
We got a lot.
And October, the Warrens Paracon, and whatever pops up in between. So stay posted on Paranormal Inc. page. Everything will be posted on there. Feel free to post anything that you have going on. Photos, pictures, comments about Dave's science experiments, whatever.
Guys, love you. Thank you as always. And we will holler at you along the way. Peace.
You've been listening to Step Into the Paranormal with Ernie Atwell and David Seiler. Thank you for listening, and listen in next week for another topic and more great guests right here on WLFE DB Radio Network.